Hello and welcome back to Seaside Garage and the Shook. Today I'm going to investigate that engine a little bit closer because it is showing some signs of maybe compression loss. That could be quite serious, of course, so I need to figure out in what kind of condition this engine is in before I continue any further, because if the engine is completely toast, I need to know how easy it would be to get the parts to rebuild that engine and so on. So I really need to figure that out. The main reason why I'm concerned is that I drove it a short distance and it was running on 3 cylinders. And under cranking in the first video I made, it did sound like a low compression situation because it made this sound. Yeah, I can sound like an engine. That sound could be made by the starter motor turning the engine over. Duh! And then when it reaches the cylinder without compression, it will be a lot easier to turn. Therefore, it would each and every time it hits that cylinder. So that points towards compression issues. But I think it could also be ignition related, because if 3 of the cylinders are firing, maybe even just 2, it will try to start when it hits those cylinders, and then when it hits the dead ones, it will. So maybe it's actually the opposite that is going on. The starter motor is not speeding up, it's slowing down. That's what I hope, because a spark issue, for instance, would be a lot nicer than an actual lost compression situation. And as I showed in the last video of this, the spark plugs, at least for one of them, is really bad. I don't even think that's sparking. So what I want to do is to just cut to the chase and remove the spark plugs and do the compression test to begin with, just to kind of see what the overall engine health is like, and then go from there. Just removing all the crap inside of the cabin. There is some brake shoes and stuff. So I'm just going to see if I can recreate the sound by cranking the engine over from the first video. To see if it's still there and if it's present all the time. I'm going to turn the engine over. Now it sounds wrong, and that was what I was talking about, the water dot. I'm going to mark up the wires like this, and then remove them. This is the one that I think is absolutely doing nothing, because there's no tip inside of this. This looks a lot better. They are very easy to undo. I have to remember that this car was I actually think it passed an MOT in Denmark, but the tax were never paid. Back in 2016. That's not a long time ago. So it shouldn't be that bad, actually. Well, it could be rusty, but the mechanical bits should be pretty decent. One spark plug looks all right. The next one looks all right. And the next one looks a little bit lean. This is the one that I expect to be the problem, so I expect this to look very black and moist. Yeah, because I don't think this is firing. I really don't think it is. But the one next to it is very wide. That's also a concern. Could be a concern at least. But yeah, we got 2 different kinds of spark plugs. These are Beru, and this is Istata. Let's test the first one. This is the one that I'm concerned about. Let's see the compression on that. Full throttle. Oh! This is not just going to be a spark issue. There's absolutely no compression. Well, there's a little bit, but there's very low compression. You might have just witnessed my ability to cope with all these old rusty projects that I got. It's a very good thing to be a little bit optimistic, otherwise it can be a little bit hopeless. So I had actually pretty much convinced myself that it was going to be a spark issue and not a compression issue. I was wrong. The reason why I had a feeling that it would be spark related is that this one, I don't know if you can see it. Okay, but there is no cap in here, it's just cracked off in here. And this one actually fell off while the engine was running once, with no difference at all. But that is probably just a coincidence. I'm just gonna go ahead and do the compression test on the rest of them. Not a big reason to do that because I know there is a problem. But if the one next to it is also low, it could point towards a cylinder head gasket fail or crack between the tube chambers. I really doubt it. I have a feeling. Well, I fear a completely destroyed cylinder, maybe a hole in the piston. I think it's a burnt valve. I hope it's a stock valve. So the first one, cylinder number 4 in my instance, I just named it that, I'm not sure it's number 4, showed nothing that I can read on, but there is a little bit of pressure. So it did create some compression, number 4. Let's try number 3. That cranks to 130, I'd say. A little bit lower than 30, 125, I'd say. And the last one. Oh, that was definitely the best one, 150. But at 150, 25 and 30, it's a bit of a difference, but I think it's down to valve adjustment and so on. So I think these 3 are all right. Something is wrong right here. Very wrong. What I want to do next is to just put my camera into cylinder number 4 to see if I can see anything in there. Oh, it's got the firing order written into the engine block. I like that. I'm just gonna hit record on this one. What am I looking at? It's a cylinder. Wow, there's a lot of room for compression. I see a valve open right there. Could that be stuck? How could I find out about that? I could bump the starter. I'm just going to pull the camera out so that it doesn't hit the piston. Then I'm just going to bump the starter and see if it moves. Yeah, it does. And the other one also opened. I saw that on the left. This is quite fun. Open. Opens. Closed. So I can't see the entire valve, so I cannot see if it's burned in any area. But I can see that they move, which I'm actually kind of sad that I can see, because that means that it's not going to be a very easy fix. Well, how about I'll do the old trick of pouring in some oil, and if the compression goes up, then it's ring related. It looks a little bit polished, the sidewalls at least, but I can't be sure. I'm just going to redo the test. Now, there's pretty much no compression. Let's add some oil in and see if it goes up. Just a tablespoon of oil, like that. I honestly hope to not see an increase, because that means that It's not the rings. I would really like it to be cylinder head related and not bottom end. But I have a feeling that we'll see an increase in compression now. No, we didn't. It's not often that you feel excitement and happiness when you see no compression, but I just did. What I want to do next is to just remove the valve cover to see if maybe if I'm really lucky, the adjustment is just way out, and even though it looks like the valve is closing, it will be difficult to see on the low resolution of my camera. But if they are not closing right, because they are way too tight, it will cause a problem, of course. Decent. Looks pretty nice. How do I remove this? It's just the 4 balls. Reminds me of the air bath. I really wasn't expecting to see no compression increase when adding oil, because it just so much pointed towards a hole in the piston or completely washed out bores or something like that. There we go. I found a manual for this. No, I didn't. You guys found a manual. I was sent the manual a couple of times, so I could go ahead and check the valve clearance. Wow, it's a simple engine. It's amazingly simple. But this valve at least is open. Or it got clearance at least. Which is the exhaust? This is going to be the exhaust. This is the intake. I was expecting the exhaust to maybe be the problem, but apparently not. I'm gonna spin the engine over. It's still pushing on the inlet. If you wonder how I'm turning the engine, I am doing it like this, of course, because this is a car from '93. Of course it got one of these. It's still pushing on the intake. What about now? It's free. That's a shame. Right now, both of the valves are closed. There's clearance on both of them. Not a lot, but there is. What I want to do now is just to put my smoke tester into this, because my leak down tester is not the best in the world. And putting my smoke tester on it now should reveal no smoke anywhere if the system was tight. But it will probably show smoke either through the intake or through the exhaust, or through the dipstick, or through the oil galleys, and that will probably reveal where the issue is. So it's time to take your guesses. I'm actually quite unsure where we're going to see smoke escape from. So the smoke is activated. It's already coming out of this. There we go. Now it's just a matter of waiting and seeing where it escapes from. If it comes up through these holes, it's rings. I expect some to come either way, even if it's all right. But what I'm interested in, maybe I shouldn't block the intake on the car, because I could escape from there or through the exhaust. I'm just gonna have to see. It's not sealing up very nicely. I'm actually slightly puzzled. I'm not getting smoke anywhere yet, except for the seal at the actual input. As you can see over there, smoke is coming out there because it's not sealing right. But I do expect it to come out somewhere else also, and I was expecting the exhaust, but nothing so far. Yeah, it's coming through the exhaust. No, I'm not happy, but so I guess the compression is escaping through the exhaust. Okay, so everything points towards issue with the exhaust valve. The smoke is coming out of the tailpipe. It could be a burnt valve, bent valve, broken seat. Could be a crack just around the the valve seat also, but I doubt that because the leak gotta be quite significant in order to almost not produce any compression. No smoke seems to be escaping through the rings, so I think I'm lucky that the bottom end of the engine is all right. I can't be completely sure, and there's not really any way to test that, as far as I know. But of course I can inspect it once I remove the cylinder head, but there will probably be no way around removing the cylinder head. But I really would like just one more indication that my diagnosis is correct, because then I can start to try to get the correct parts and all that. So I'm gonna try one more time with my camera, and I'm gonna set that up to filming. And then poke around, and I turn the engine until the valve is open. So maybe I can see something about on the seat or something like that. And you are part of the journey now. Got the valve, it's very difficult to see, but that is the exhaust valve open. And I'm not sure. Oh, wait a second. I think I found my issue. That is pretty obvious. There is a big chunk missing right there. I wonder if it's broken or burned. It actually looks broken. But this is a broken exhaust valve. Okay, it's not the best result, but not the worst either. I was really worried that the cylinder or piston was damaged, but this is top end issues, I guess. What I want to do is to at least get the valves, of course, probably also a new seat, cylinder head gasket before going any further, because it could take a lot of time to get those parts. I have no idea how difficult or how long it will take. I don't think it's that bad. I already got a couple of links from you guys with the home pages that sell stuff for these. But I want to get the parts before I go any further. Of course, there is a chance I need even more once I take stuff apart, but it's just nice for me to just at least have the parts. And then I need to figure out what to do, because I don't want this car inside the garage while I fix the engine, because it could take a long time. So I probably will do it outside or in a barn somewhere, who knows. But result, at least, now I know why the engine is running on 3. I think there's 2 reasons actually. I think there's no compression and wire issues, but the main issue is, of course, absolutely no compression on cylinder number 4. Yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget you can support me. There's a link down below for my Patreon page. That way you can help me make these videos. Without your guys' help, there won't be as many as there is currently. That's all. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.